Hey, Explanation now rocking with your boy KOR XKL, the last son of planet Xbox, and you're listening to Super Podshots. Hey man, everything has died down over the whole quantum break news. It seems that a lot of media outlets are now kind of settling in on understanding what Microsoft is doing. The fans have settled the fans have settled in on what Microsoft is doing. I didn't really want to get into a discussion about what was happening with Microsoft and PC and exclusive and things like that. As I said before, you guys know that I've spoke about this at length, so there's no point in beating a dead horse. However, today there's a lot of news going around about what Microsoft is doing, how they're transitioning into PC. Windows 10 is the focus and trying to unify their systems. And there's a couple of topics that happen to come up that really, when you look at it, I wonder if this was Microsoft's plan all along. And when I started to talk about these things, and I spoke to a few people about it, they kind of like blow it over, like, nah, it's not that big of a deal, and this has happened before. But I really think that on the 25th, they're gonna drop something, and it's gonna be major news. And remember, if you listen to my last episode or a couple of episodes back, one when I had Mike Ybarra on, and my last YouTube exclusive for the YouTube people out there listening, remember that I said that Mike Ybarra said that he would have two more major things to announce this year that are on the same level as backwards compatibility for the Xbox One. So my site, TICGN, as well as a few others, happened to catch something that happened to scroll across GAF. And what they found on GAF was this, it seems like this internal link with Steam for xbox.steampowered.com. And most people blow it off. Most people believe that it's Xbox games coming to Steam and that, the Steam players will be able to play Quantum Break when it comes out and things like that. Well, first, Aaron Greenberg nipped that in the butt today and said, no, Quantum Break will not be coming to Steam. It is going to be a Windows 10 exclusive that keeps it in the family, that keeps it exclusive to Microsoft's ecosystem and their platforms. And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to pitch this. They're trying to sell Windows 10 through gaming. And I don't know why gamers don't get that. And the funny thing is that the PC gamers out there, not all of them, clearly, I can't stereotype all of them, but the PC gamers out there were really upset. I mean, I knew they were upset with Killer Instinct, but they were clearly pissed off. And as I went through different forums and different chats, they just wanted to boycott the Windows Store. And I'm just sitting here saying to myself, everybody just applauded Microsoft finally getting their exclusives on PC and sharing it with the PC install base, showing that they're serious about the PC gamer. And then you're going to turn around and say you're not going to buy the game because you don't want to get it from the Windows Store because it's not coming to Steam. That's no different than the Xbox gamers getting mad that their Xbox games are going to PC. If that's not the most hypocritical thing in the world, I don't know what is. It clearly is a little bit hypocritical. Now, I've spoken to a few people today that explained the reasons why they didn't want to use the Windows Store. One of the reasons was that, when it came to purchasing the games, first of all, the Windows Store they felt was clunky. The other thing was that they couldn't use overlays and things like that because for whatever reason, it just doesn't allow it. And what I explained to them was that, because they use the Xbox app. They have their own overlay. They're not going to let you use the things that you want to use for their games. Remember, the reason why the Xbox app is up there is because you're still playing Xbox. That's the whole point. I think what people don't realize is that when you look at it, Microsoft, yes, are moving their exclusives to PC, but they're moving into Xbox on PC. And I hate the fact that when they talk about their exclusives, or shall I say like the media, when people announce things or they show these games, they're like Xbox and PC. PC is so broad, it gives it a negative stigmatization because then everybody thinks it's coming to PC or it's coming to Steam, excuse me. They think it's coming to Steam or they'll be able to buy it and just play it right out and, do whatever they want. People are concerned about pirating, but Microsoft pretty much are pretty much saying, listen, if you buy this game, you're getting it on Windows 10. When you run this game, you're being logged into live That's how they're keeping control of their games. That's how there's literally DRM to an extent. That's how they're that's how they're going to be able to control the pirating situation with those games as well. So a lot of people are upset about that. And I get that. You want the freedom. You feel like Microsoft should, they should let the game just hit PC and do whatever it wants to do. But then that defeats the purpose. First of all, them putting it on Steam is losing revenue. Yeah, you might get extra sales. I'm pretty sure you'll get a whole bunch of sales. But then you don't push out the adoption of Windows 10 like you want to, which Windows 10 is not as bad as most people think it is. I don't know why everybody is like upset with Windows 10. I think Windows 10 is great, in my opinion. And then you don't get the adoption that you want for the gamers to get them to cross over into Windows 10. And they can't use it if they're not on Windows 10 anyway, because you need DX12. The game is DX12 powered. So everyone's getting upset about this. And no one is like really gamers. And I feel like this generation, I don't know what's going on with this generation of all generations. Like there are some games that are really good, but there's been nothing that, in my opinion, has been, oh my God, it's a classic. It's like, this is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just haven't had that feeling yet when it came to particular games. But there are a few games out there that are really, really good that I really, really liked. Tomb Raider being one of them. Ori and the Blind Forest was another. I actually, myself, I really enjoyed Halo 5. I know a lot of people didn't, but I really enjoyed Halo 5. I thought the set pieces were amazing. I love what they did with, the gunplay. The action was so fluid. It was smooth. The game looked great. It was gorgeous. The multiplayer was different. They brought some things back to improve it, and the game keeps improving. I think Halo 5 is like definitely one of the best Halos out there. Probably not better than 2. 2, in my opinion, is the greatest Halo of all time. I love 2 so much. Dual wielding. I mean, just playing on Valhalla and snipers and Spartan lasers. I could keep going on with Halo, but I don't want to do that. But the point is that, it wasn't something where it was like, there was all these classics. And there's plenty of time for the generation to come out. I think Quantum Break may be one of those games. But the point that I'm trying to get to is now that, so the Steam players don't want to use the Windows Store. Fine, whatever. Don't want to use it, don't use it. That's your loss, obviously. The Xbox gamers and the console gamers are going to go out. They're going to pick this game up in droves. This game is going to sell. It's hot. And it's I mean, it's really, really hot right now. It's on everybody's lips. If it wasn't on everybody's lips before, be honest with you, this is the best marketing for any game that Microsoft has released. Like even better than when like they did something like with Halo and they had commercials and they had, big store openings. Halo didn't get this much coverage the way Quantum Break did. And it's like a month before the game comes out. When you go to forums, you see threads, everybody's talking about Quantum Break. Everybody's excited about Quantum Break. And I wouldn't be surprised if Microsoft planned it that way. If they didn't, I can tell you right now, it was a godsend that it happened the way it did, because this game seemed like it's going to get picked up by everybody. But I'm off topic. The whole point of what I'm trying to talk about is that Steam has this URL language on the back end where it's showing xbox.steampowered.com. Now, most people will blow it off, obviously. But like I said, Mike Ybarra said there's supposed to be this big, big announcement that they got 2 more big announcements coming out this year, similar to Xbox One backwards compatibility, which was a very, very big announcement. Now, what's really crazy is that I happen to talk to a friend of mine, somebody that I contacts me all the time in direct messages. We keep things on a hush hush, little things like that. I'm not going to say he's an insider, but he hooks me up with information all the time. There were other things that linked to this Xbox.com Steam Power URL. And one of them was the, I believe it was called cafe at steampowered.com. And it was like a part of the mail server. These things are linked up between the Xbox and Steam. And what the cafe does is it allows people who want to do video game cafes to have Steam hooked up to their cafe to allow them to play Steam games. Now, Clearly, Xbox fans are upset about losing exclusives to PC. But what if, just what if, Microsoft figured out a way to get Steam games on the Xbox One? And remember, I said, hey, it would be so sick if Microsoft figured out a way to do, cross games, cross buys, cross saves. But what would be even better is if they did it with games that were coming to the Xbox One, but they released on Steam first. And there's a lot of games like that. You get a lot of indie games, a lot of smaller titles that hit Steam way before it hits Xbox. And it's on there for a minute. The next thing you know, it comes to Xbox. What if there was a possibility or a way Microsoft allowed, and I don't mean Steam streaming. I think streaming is not the way to do it. You can't do it that way, because if there's some game out there that's like really good, but you need a powerful PC or a good PC, most console gamers, and it's the honest truth, most console gamers probably don't have it because they're console gamers. They're not putting money into a PC. So you couldn't expect them to go out and buy a big AAA game that has like smashing amazing graphics and then try to stream it to the Xbox One. It's not going to work. I think what would have to happen is there would be some type of Steam availability on the Xbox One. Some people say it could be backwards compatibility. You have games like Left 4 Dead, things like that. People reminisced about how there was also a client with the PS3 where they did cross play with Portal 2 on PS3. Another person suggested that it's a possibility that it could just be games from Microsoft going into Steam where they might have their own Windows store on Steam. But I'm like, that defeats the purpose for Steam, because then Steam isn't making money. What do they get out of it? And you saying to me right now, well, what does Steam get out of this? This is what they get out of it. People could buy the games on Steam. You buy the game first on Steam. You know it's coming to Xbox One. The sale is made on Steam, so Steam gets what? Extra purchasers, consumers, and things like that. You have select games already built for the Xbox, so that's compatible with the Xbox One, run right into the Xbox itself, all through Windows 10. You have cross buys, you have cross save. They work out a way where they can do that with those particular games, and you might have something special. Now you got PC games coming to the Xbox One, already built for the hardware, already designed for the hardware. I could imagine had Ark come out and everybody played Ark early, and then suddenly when they hit the Xbox, you pick up right where you left off on the Xbox. Now, if they announce this news at the February 25th event, which is the Windows 10 and the Xbox One event, I wonder how people will react. Because in my opinion, this could be big, big news. Big news. Some people are like, oh, well, we could play Street Fighter. No, that's not going to happen. I think that anything that is PC and console exclusive to Nintendo or console exclusive to PlayStation, they probably wouldn't touch that game. There'd be some type of breach of contract in that design. I don't think it would work. So they're not going to be able to touch those games. However, if they were able to do something where everything else that was on Steam that couldn't be purchased on the Xbox One, maybe they could work something out and then have those games be able to be played through the Xbox but purchased on Steam. At the same time, if Microsoft has a deal with any developer that's releasing their games on Steam first, you have cross-buy, buy it on Steam, comes right on over to the Xbox. You can play the games on Steam and have it run through the Xbox. Or those particular games, depending on what they are, if they're not too powerful, then you can stream those games to the Xbox and play it. And then from there, you would have the cross-buy, and you pick it up on the Xbox One or download on the Xbox One, because you wouldn't have to buy it again if that was the availability, and you continue playing with your cross-save. I mean, there's potential for this thing or whatever it is. Now, this is all speculation. I'm not saying this is a fact at all whatsoever. This is not what I'm saying. I'm just saying, based on the evidence and the people that I've spoken to, there's a very strong possibility that Microsoft has worked out some type of deal with Valve. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know what it could be. Maybe it's Half-Life 3. Maybe it's Left 4 Dead 3. Considering this, we saw Left 4 Dead 2 backwards compatibility come up, and I don't know if it's still up or not. To be honest with you, because I never bought it digitally. I had it physically. So I do remember at one point it was up, but I think it might have gotten taken away or taken down. Maybe they were testing it, kind of like what they did with Red Dead Redemption. So my whole thing, and the same thing happened with Alan Wake. Remember that too. Remember, the more I think about it, remember they did the same thing with Alan Wake as well. They had Alan Wake, and it was running American Nightmare. People remember that. The next thing you know, they took it down. Nobody knew it was that. Boom, it shows up like a week later because they were testing it out. Guess what? It's now going to be packaged with the Alan Wake backwards compatible game with the 2 DLCs, along with Quantum Break, the console, and then American Nightmare, the standalone DLC game. So there's a possibility that it could be something backwards compatible with Valve, and there's a possibility it could be what people really want is a way to play their Steam games and have their Steam accounts all intertwined with the Xbox One. It's a tough sell because Microsoft isn't allowing their games on Steam. People say that they're competing against each other, but I don't really think Microsoft can compete with Steam. I don't see how they can do that. There's no possible way they're going to be able to do that. Most people are already on Steam, like I said before. So what they're going to wind up doing is always go to Steam when they want to purchase something. Steam has better deals. There's more freedom. There's just more things that you can do with that. In return, though, the exclusives that do hit PC, they can then come over to the Windows Store and pick those up. Microsoft can get extra funds from the extra sales, and hopefully they'll go back to producing more IPs and more exclusives for the Xbox One. Because I said this before, the only way, in my opinion, this works is unless Microsoft is pumping out IPs like their Nintendo. You know what I'm saying? Unless they have an abundance of IPs like their Nintendo, then that's the only way I could see where it's like the Windows 10 Xbox app, games on Windows 10, the one ecosystem thing makes complete sense, because then the PC gamers will be able to get more than just a few games every year from the Windows Store. They'll be able to get abundance of first-party titles from Microsoft, and that's all under one ecosystem. So that kind of makes sense in a way. But Steam, on the other hand, it's tough. I'm just trying to figure out how they can make this deal work. What is the benefit for Microsoft with it, and what is the benefit for Steam? And a lot of people feel like, no, Steam hates Microsoft, Gabe dissed them, and all the stuff like that. Understand something. This is a different Microsoft. We clearly see this. You know what I'm saying? We clearly see this. We clearly understand that. This is not Don Matrick and Ballmer. This is Satya and Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is a great, I won't say the greatest person in the world, but in the video game industry, he's well respected and he's a great person as a person. When you meet him in person, he's a really nice person, a really cool guy, really down to earth person. And that's from my experience with him anyway. So my thing is, if he and Gabe had a conversation, or somebody from the Microsoft branch had a conversation with them, and they worked out a deal under this new Microsoft thing, could you imagine if the next Xbox was a Steam type Xbox? Not saying it ran by Steam, obviously. Would it defeat Steam machines? I mean, what are they doing right now? They're not doing much right now. I'll be honest with you, and I can see that happening in the future because Microsoft is going into this direction. Here's another thing that people seem to forget. First of all, this thing got brought up last year. This is when this whole thing started. It started last year around, I think, the same time, about January or February. This is when they first talked about this Xbox thing happening. Do you think that Valve took an entire year and probably worked with Microsoft to get this thing to run on the Xbox? It could have taken that amount of time just to get it to run. On top of that, you also are forgetting one more thing. There was another patent that Microsoft was working on where they were using cloud in the browsers. People tend to forget these things. I don't. That's why I'm always on point and why you guys love me. You got to remember, Microsoft is trying to figure out a way to allow you to have your games everywhere you go. Okay? So if they're figuring out a way to work cloud in the browser, maybe they worked out something with Steam in some type of way to allow people to play games on the Xbox One as a medium and have Steam in either Steam app or have the games streamed. That gives Valve more money in their pockets And then it also allows Microsoft to go ahead and boast about cross play and cross saves. Not even, you can even say cross play, but cross buy as well, and cross saves. And then in return, people will then look at the Xbox One as an asset. Because, like I said before, you have all these people talking about, well, if all of Microsoft's exclusives are on PC, what's the point of getting an Xbox? Imagine telling a consumer you can play these games exclusively on this console, and then you also have access to Steam. Now, some people are like, okay, but what about the PC gamers? This is not for the PC gamers. The PC gamers are going to play on PC regardless. They're going to play on Steam regardless. They may buy the Windows games regardless. It had nothing to do with PC gamers. This has to do with console gamers. This is how you appeal to the console gamers, by increasing the library tenfold. That's how you do it. You put so many games on the Xbox One in some sort of way that they can't deny getting the Xbox One. Now, again, this is all hypothetical. I'm not saying this is a fact. I'm not saying this is true. You know, on the 25th, they can come out and be like, hey, it was nothing. It was just a page. Nothing's happening. And, it all go away. Like nothing ever happened. It's just, just something that they were doing, for their own protection. But in a way, if it does happen, if it is true, does Microsoft then turn around and save face to all the console gamers who felt that they were abandoned? Because now they have this influx of games that they can then play early or play in an app for Steam, or have connected accounts and have achievements and all these things that all work together in sync. I don't know. But like I said, based on the information that I've spoken to a few people here and there, some of the things that people have showed me in private messages, I'm inclined to think that Microsoft and Valve have something going, and they are about to drop a bomb on the 25th. And it's going to be a megaton bomb if it happens. It will be big if it happens. Now, again, it can also just be backwards compatibility, and it can also just be, maybe a deal they worked out where they might have Left 4 Dead coming to the Xbox One exclusively, and then obviously on PC on their own platform. But if it's not, if it is an app, how would that would change the game dramatically. And I can actually see Microsoft's next console being similar in some way to a Steam machine. Something super powerful at a decent price, or multiple versions of it. Cloud streaming, because that is the future. That's the direction Microsoft is going. Maybe they still include a disk drive for people in those smaller countries that need it. I just hope that the next box they come out with isn't a giant hulking machine. Hopefully the new design of the next Xbox is something more sleek and everything. I know people don't have a problem with the Xbox, and I actually prefer the power brick outside of the box. I really do. Most people prefer it in because it looks like it doesn't take up. I have no problem with my power brick. You know what I'm saying? I really don't. And if it keeps my console cooler, and my fan doesn't have to work hard, where I hear a jet engine in my living room, that's great for me. So keep it out of the box. It don't bother me none. But if they are able to get this deal done, this hypothetical deal done, Microsoft changes the game. It may not change their console sales immediately, but then you think about this deal in the future. You think about EA Access. You think about if they have something with Steam. You think about the Windows integration, cross-buy, cross-saves, all the IPs that they may be coming out with because of the new revenue coming in from PC. Microsoft is actually building an incredible foundation right now. I'm actually shocked that I'm saying this as somebody who prefers exclusives on consoles. I'm kind of starting to become a little bit impressed with what they're doing. And they're really jumping on the ball right now. Seriously jumping on the ball right now. Have you seen Quantum Break, by the way? I posted a comparison on Twitter. For those of you who are on iTunes, Apple, and Windows, shout out to you guys. I appreciate you guys downloading the show. Really, really, really great support in that space. I happened to throw up a thing on Twitter And it shows a comparison of when they showed Quantum Break at, I think it was Gamescom 2015, and what we've seen recently in 2016. In every aspect, graphically, the game improved. But let's just be honest for 1 second, okay? When you look at that game, there are differences from what they showed at Gamescom and what they showed on the Xbox. And I'm inclined to believe, and I hate to say this, but I'm inclined to believe that the previous footage was PC footage. It definitely wasn't console footage, because if you look closely, here's the differences. The difference is color. The Gamescom versions was so vibrant. You can actually see very, blues and yellows and reds and things like that. And it wasn't so grayish. But then when you look at the facial textures of the characters, they just look so much better in the 2016 version, the actual Xbox version. The Xbox version reminds me, and I don't mean graphically, I'm just saying the design of it with the color scheme reminds me of Gears. Gears was very gray, brown, dark, but I think what they did was an alternate way to sacrifice something without really removing something else for the upgrading graphics. I think that's exactly what Gears did. It wasn't as colorful as any other game that you would normally play, but in the process, you got these amazing graphics, amazing textures, amazing lighting, and it made the game look stunning. I think that's exactly what they did with Quantum Break. I think they sacrificed, because listen, let's be honest, there has to be a sacrifice somewhere. I know you guys don't want to admit it. I know you like, I don't see a difference. I don't see a difference, Cal. You know what I'm saying? But keep it 100. Like, seriously, just look at it. You can see there's blues, there's reds, there's yellows. Those colors are really dampened. They're not as vibrant as they were. They're there, but they're just very dampened. But the game graphically looks incredible. And it looks to me just like a better game. And the one thing I was really worried about with that game was that it would turn into like a quick time event thing. Because remember, they used to show when you ran up on an enemy and you would do a finisher, the B button would pop up. But I didn't see that any time in any example that they showed of all the previews that I've been seeing. To be honest with you, I haven't even seen him do anything physically against anybody. Just mainly just, burst around the screen and use his abilities and use weapons. So I think that game is going to be a pretty successful game. A lot of people are impressed with it. It's going to be a big title for Microsoft. And by the way, that game is a trilogy. If people don't realize that or know that. I remember Sam talking about that a while ago, that the game was going to be a trilogy. So you can expect, if this game is absolutely will be successful, you can expect a part 2, and you can probably expect a part 3. But he did state that his story would finish. But I don't think that means that will be the end of that universe. Clearly, they've included Alan Wake in that universe, and maybe the Time Stutters have done something in his world to make, his world the way it is and have him trapped in this book and all these things like that. I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. They'll figure it out. they'll put a tie in somehow. But but the bottom line is that they have something special that they're working with, and that's going to be a really cool franchise for Microsoft and for Remedy. And I hope that partnership continues. I would love for Microsoft to buy Remedy, but Remedy just don't want to be bought. Everybody's always talking about buy Remedy, buy Remedy. I think a company would have to need or want to be bought in order for another company to purchase them. Same thing with Crytek. When Crytek was like going downhill and they were like begging for money. And by the way, if you played the Homefront beta, that game is, oh God, the game is bad. It's bad. I don't really like to just call people's work trash or garbage, but the game is bad. Like, I don't know what they did. It's not the same game that they showed us the first time. I don't even know what Homefront that is in the previews. And the ones we saw at E3 was incredible. We were all hyped. I played that game. I felt like I was literally playing an indie game. Like, I'm not even joking. That's how it felt. I was playing an indie game. It's not fun at all. And I really think they shouldn't release the game. I really think they should probably cancel the game. I know that's saying a lot, but they probably should cancel the game. That game is not going to sell. I never felt like that for any game. That game's not going to sell. But I just think that Quantum Break looks like it's going to be a very successful game. They got a good franchise on their hands. Alan Wake, we will see another Alan Wake. Clearly, they have Easter eggs all over Quantum Break. Sam even has a live action cutscene in Quantum Break for Alan Wake, so they will be a sequel for that game, and that's going to be a good thing for Microsoft because that means they get to continue franchises, bring some of the stuff from 360 back, continue character storylines and things like that. And I think that's what Remedy will do. I think Remedy will alternate between Quantum Break and Alan Wake, and that's great for Microsoft. That's something that I would love to see. I know people get on me for this all the time, and I don't mean no disrespect at all to all the fans of Gears and Halo, but I would love to see that from 343 and the Coalition. I know the Coalition didn't drop Gears yet, but I just really think it would be so great if they had two franchises just to alternate. I really do believe that. If they had Halo Wars, in another franchise and rotate those, I don't think people would say anything about Halo. I love Halo, but we've had Halo like the last 3 years. We will have Halo like the last 3 years. Each one of them is different, but it's still Halo. You had Halo Master Chief Collection. You had Halo 5. Next year this year we'll have Halo Wars. You have Gears coming out, which I'm super ecstatic about. I didn't play Judgment. I have the free game because I bought Ultimate Edition, so I would get a chance to play Judgment. I heard it's not the best one in the bunch, but it's Gears, so I would definitely try it out. But Gears 4 look amazing. I can't wait to try that game out, play it. I think we actually may have some news coming up too on the 25th about when the beta is supposed to be coming out. The beta is supposed to be coming out in the spring. So that would be good to get on Gears 4 beta and people get to play the multiplayer and get a feel for it. And that's great because that's a year ahead of schedule, kind of like they did with Halo. We got a chance to play Halo and everybody experienced it. And then you look at Halo 5's multiplayer, and it's probably the best multiplayer ever or pretty close to it. So it would be great if they did the same thing for Gears of War. I would love to play this new Gears on this new engine. Oh, man, I'm so hyped for it. I'm talking about it, getting myself hyped for it. Yeah. But again, so Microsoft seems like they're really putting all their ducks in a row. And, for a minute, a lot of us are like, Microsoft, they don't know what they're doing. People are like, they don't know what they're doing. And then you have some people like, no, it's the right thing to do. But when you really start to look at the little things that we're finding here and there, the things that we ignore, like the cloud service in browsers, like that's crazy. Like you can just type in www. whatever, and then you'd be able to maybe play a game from the cloud. Like that would be insane. I don't even know how that would work, but they have something. I can tell you that much. I haven't really investigated it that much, but I would definitely look more into that. But you look at that, and then again, like I said before, you look at maybe this thing that they may have with Steam coming up on the 25th. You look at backwards compatibility. You look at what they're trying to do as an ecosystem. If they start pumping up IPs left and right, like the console will still be appealing. And I think that's the thing that people get confused about. Yeah, it may not be appealing to the PC gamer, but everybody else that don't game on PC, all the people who just go mom and pops who go pick up their kids something for Christmas, they can look at Xbox and see that Microsoft has all these extra things. Just because a game is on PC doesn't mean that the console is weaker for it. If I'm a console gamer, I'm not thinking about PC, and I can't play Quantum Break nowhere else other than Xbox, that's a plus for Xbox. I think the only people that are worried about that is the opposite people who are on the PlayStation, and not even the Nintendo fans care, to be honest with you. It's mainly the main two rivals between Sony and Microsoft, and really those are the only ones that are doing the list wars. So in that regard, they think it's a notch on their belt, but rooting for another console's failure or another game's failure, especially if you like it's funny, you get people that say, oh, I love Remedy. Remedy is great, but then you want them to fail. I never get that. You love a certain game, but you want it to fail. You don't want it to be successful. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's just weird logic. So I think clearly Microsoft has all their ducks in a row. The people who game on PC, they're not going to be able to resist Quantum Break, especially if you have the stats. You're going to see all these things hit YouTube. You're going to see all these ratings come out. And I really hope that this game is highly rated and is a success. I think it will be. I said this before on PTK Blam's podcast. Shout out to Blam and the Shop podcast. I said this to Blam on his show. I said, that they had 7 writers for Quantum Break. 7. 2 of them were from the Alan Wake. That was Sam Lake and another guy. They brought in a 3rd writer, and then they got 5. No, I'm sorry, 8, not 7, 8. They got 5 extra. No. I'm bugging. It's 10 writers. Excuse me, because I'm just now realizing something. They had Sam Lake and his homeboy, who he works with it at Remedy. Those are the 2 guys that worked on Alan Wake. They wrote the Alan Wake story. They brought in a new person to the Remedy team, and then they got 7 other writers from Microsoft to help with the game. 10 writers on this one day. And the reason why they did that was because they wanted to make sure that there were no loopholes. Because when you're dealing with time stories, and you're dealing with time in general, there's always something that's missed. You're always missing something. When you go back, something's not placed right, or this person was at this particular moment in time. Like, whatever it is, there's always a loophole. And they tried to cover every single loophole, and having that amount of minds, that amount of people to cover each other's asses when writing this story. That's impressive. That is impressive. Microsoft put a lot of money into this, and I'm pretty sure they want to see a return on it. So putting it on PC makes sense, clearly, because gamers for Xbox, they're picking up the games. They're just picking them up slowly. Nothing is jumping out the gate like, $1 million, $2 million in a week. I think that's what Microsoft is used to for 360. It's a different generation, so they're not going to get that. Putting it out on PC will probably net them another, I don't know, Windows 10, man. Like, you probably never get the number for Windows 10. I don't even know what the numbers are for Tomb Raider, but more than likely, like, maybe they net like an extra 200,000, copies sold on PC. That probably is everybody that's in everybody that's in the forum is talking about they got PCs around the world. All the people that's like, hey, I got a PC, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, that's them. The 200,000. Everybody think it's gonna make a big difference. It's not. It's gonna sell more on consoles. It's always sold more on consoles. I don't know what people will be thinking, but yeah, it's a console seller, so people will pick it up for consoles. It's just funny thinking about these little things here and there. So yeah, in the end, I think the PC gamer will eventually fold, pick up the game if they have it. The Xbox gamer will be happy with the game. You also have cross-buy, cross-save if you want to go somewhere, which to me is a little weird because as a console gamer, even if you bought it for PC, you don't have a PC to run it. Like, you got the cross-save, but you don't have a PC to run it. So what's the point? But I get what Microsoft was doing. Much respect to Microsoft, unless that cloud browser thing works. Wow, think about that for 1 second. Damn, I amaze myself sometimes. I think about these things. What if, oh man, what if Microsoft figured out a way, once they get this cloud browser thing, to move games to a server and stream them anywhere you want to go? Then it doesn't matter what hardware you're on because you're in the cloud browser and you have cross saves. You don't even need the hardware. You just need to be able to stream it. You need the bandwidth. If you have the bandwidth, then you can stream it. Wow, that's something. I know I'm thinking out of the box. I'm just saying, based on everything, the patents and stuff that's coming out, there's a reason why there's a cloud browser. Like, what is the purpose of this thing? To play games in a browser through the cloud. That's the only thing that makes sense to me, because why would you give a console gamer a cross purchase knowing that most console gamers don't have PCs to run a game like Quantum Break? We've all seen the specs for it. I know damn sure I don't have it. I just tried to, when I started doing the live streams for YouTube, they checked my my laptop. I have an i7 laptop, but my GPU is like an Intel something. I don't even know what it is. It doesn't even give me the stat. It just says Intel, and it's nowhere near as powerful as anything from NVIDIA or from AMD. So it could be something that they're working on in that space, and that would be very interesting if they did do something in that space. I would be very, very actually blown away if Microsoft did something like that. and they're like, hey, you already have the game, just play it anywhere you want in the cloud browser or whatever it is. What? That would be insane. Talk about being console agnostic. What? Man, shock myself with that one. I shocked myself with that one, man. My mind is always going, but still. So that would be crazy. That would definitely be crazy. It's weird. It's been a weird generation. It really has. It's been up and down. I think for Microsoft, it's been up and down. Microsoft needs to just get their message clear. They get their message clear. They'll be on point. Us Xbox gamers, we're going to enjoy the hell out of these games coming, bros and sisters out there. Y'all listening to the show. I appreciate you. Listen, man, it's going to be crazy. I can't wait to see what this Young Conquer game look like. Fragment, any other thing they got coming out. And definitely HoloLens. I know HoloLens isn't meant for gaming, but if HoloLens does what it says it, I swear to, did you guys, probably not. Have you ever seen this commercial for HoloLens where they show what it's like to watch the NFL? And I know some of my international Xbox brethren out there, you guys don't really watch the NFL, but I could imagine if you was able to watch it with a soccer game. This thing is so impressive that, the way they show these things, if it even works 10% that way, I would be blown away. I would absolutely be blown away because it's really impressive what they're showing in these tech demos. I just hope that it comes out to the way that it looks like it's supposed to come out and we don't get like another Connect, because we all know what happened to Milo. So, man, listen, I just want to say that Microsoft is they're doing the right thing for their company. As a business, as a gamer, I'm happy that they're producing games. This is the most active Microsoft has been in a very, very long time. And, it's funny. I happen to be surfing YouTube, and every once in a while, I'll check out some of the other YouTubers. There's no disrespect to anybody if you feel like I don't listen to you. It's not that I don't listen to you. It's just that I'm just a very busy person. I do a lot, as I said before. Wife, kid, Tick podcast, TICGN website. There's a lot that I do. So sometimes I'm able to listen, sometimes I'm not. But I happen to check out my man E-Rock's video today, which was absolutely hilarious. I didn't agree with it, but it's absolutely hilarious. And, he continues with the whole thing about he felt that Phil Spencer was weak. And the great thing about Don Matrick was that he was aggressive. And I give Don Matrick that. That's the one thing I give Don Matrick. Like I said before, the man was aggressive. He knew how to spend money and what to spend it on. And it really kept Microsoft in the forefront for a long time. But in the end, things start to fall apart when you're not producing first-party games. So we're not getting anything new. We're just getting third parties and, the competition's out there pumping out IPs like a mofo. So that didn't work out. But I just want to say in that regard with Phil Spencer, because, a lot of people have been giving Phil some slack. I've seen Gaming Bolt recently come out and talk about how this is terrible for Microsoft and Xbox. I'm pretty sure Microsoft knows what they're doing. I'm pretty sure of that. It's funny how people who are not in the business of a mega conglomerate like Microsoft can make determinations for them without any of the analytical data that these people produce themselves, that they go out and analyze themselves. Like, you're nowhere near on that level. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion, obviously. But clearly, Microsoft has figured out some type of way, and they probably feel like that the software sales outweigh the console sales. That's clear what it is. And that they feel that the console gamer will still buy consoles regardless, and losing the PC gamer isn't that significant. It must not be that big of a deal. So more power to Microsoft. Instead of complaining about what they're doing, how about if you really like the game, support the game, support the division. Make sure they continue to grow and they stay around, because the last thing we want is a monopoly from one company. Competition is highly important in the video game industry, and without competition, you fall into a rut of people doing certain things that you don't want to do. You don't want them to do. And you really start to question what these people are really doing. That's what makes competition great. You know why I hate DirecTV? Because the NFL season pass is $200. No one else can get this pass. Matter of fact, I think it's $300. It's $200 for the mobile version. That's in the same price to watch 16 weeks of football. I don't care how many football teams there are. All I watch is the Jets. New York all day, every day. So all I watch is the Jets. That's all I care about. Why do I have to pay $300? If somebody else had access to that network, I bet you the prices would be cheaper. I bet you the quality would be different. It's similar to Madden as well. It's like I watch Madden. And by the way, NFL 2K5 is the greatest football game of all time. Just letting people know that. NFL 2K5 is the greatest football game of all time to this day. I don't care what Madden puts out. Madden's a great franchise, without question. 2K5, greatest football game of all time. No competition. They don't even know what to do with themselves. They really don't. They don't even know what to do with themselves creatively with the game. So now they figured out a way to just milk more money out of you with the MUT, the Madden Ultimate Teams, and people of, cards, and they expire. Like, it's no creativity when you don't have competition. When you don't have competition, you can't look at what the other person is doing and see how you can improve upon it or figure out a way to make your stuff better. So I think it's important that Microsoft stay in the game. Nintendo as well, man. This NX, hopefully it's something special and it's good. I would like to buy a Nintendo system eventually, again, because I haven't bought one since GameCube. And as well for PlayStation, like I said, I like PlayStation, man. I'm not a hater of PlayStation. Not really feeling what they've been producing lately, though I do like Horizon. I do like Star Ocean and, some of the RPGs they got coming out now. But there's a couple of really cool games that interest me now. Does that mean I'm going to pick one up? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I tell you what, I'm going to keep my Xbox One, Xbox for life, all day, every day. And that's not a fanboy thing. It's just what I prefer, man. I love the games on the Xbox One platform. I love the people on the Xbox One, in the Xbox One community. You know why I love the people in the Xbox One community? Because the community is very passionate. It's a very passionate fan base, And it's funny because other people are so concerned about what's happening on this side instead of worrying about what's happening on that side. So I think it's great that the community really sticks together, and things like that. And even when somebody does something wrong, the community calls them out on it because we try to keep it as honest, as real as possible, because that's how we want our gaming to be. And that's why I don't mind people calling out Microsoft, and I don't mind calling out Microsoft for the mishaps and the things that they do and stuff like that. But if they continue to impress me, I won't have to say anything. I think they will speak for themselves, and hopefully the people out there that want an Xbox will see it and they'll be able to go out and purchase one. So that's it, man. That's it with this topics, these couple of topics and everything like that. I really hope that Microsoft is successful once again in their endeavor and everything. And I hope that this thing on the 25th is real, man. If they come out with this thing and it's amazing, it's going to be bonkers. People are going to lose it. People might lose it. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to tell you right now, if Microsoft figures out a way to get this thing to work and it works, like seriously, it works. There's going to be so many salty people. Like people are really going to be salty. Like really salty that this has worked out for them. And it would be a crazy situation if that happened to happen on February 25th. So I'm definitely looking forward to what they have coming up on the 25th. And hopefully we all will be excited for what they have to show. So I'm going to take some fan questions now. Let me see if I can pull up the box again. I'm having trouble once again. I don't know why this happens to me all the time. For some apparent reason I can't find. Oh, there we go. I got it. Cool. This happens to me all the time. All right. So I am now looking at the chat box right now. Oh man, the better gamer. Well, I'm at the end of my stream, man. I will hit you up on the next one. If you are around listening, I will definitely hit you up on the next one. Voodoo Rob, Xbox One for life. You already know, boy. Yo, Slippy. PC gamers keep telling themselves that Linux is the future. I think they've been saying that for like a decade now, right? Right? Like, when they gonna wake up? Oh, I have co-hosts. Look, this is my own individual show, Super Podshots. I have Tick Podcast. Tick Podcast is with my team. That's with B Money 101, Skittles 1323, and Anchorman V. We have been actually recruiting a fifth member, but that fifth member is more for a change of pace comedic type role. So we'll be recruiting that. I know some of you guys would love to be on the show, and if you're interested, definitely DM me at tickpodcast.com, and we will tickpodcast.com. Don't do that. DM me on Twitter at tickpodcast on tickpodcast on Twitter, and you can come on and chat with us, and we see how you do. Maybe make a tryout, and you can make the TIC podcast team. Cryptic, yeah, I'll check out your channel, bro, no doubt. And that's what I'm saying, son. All right, so Son Brian says Microsoft actually showcased game streaming to internet browsers last year. Now think about that logic. If Microsoft figures out a way, because like I said before, it doesn't make sense. In a way, I get what Microsoft is doing. Buying one game allows you to play on two platforms, but console games play on consoles for a reason. We don't spend the money on the rigs to play a game, let alone going to kick out the money to build a rig to play Quantum Break. But what if Quantum Break was in the cloud? What if we had access to Quantum Break on a browser, this cloud browser that Microsoft has been working on that everybody seems to have forgotten? That would be it. That would be where it's like you already have the license. You have the license for Quantum Break. All you have to do is hop on the browser and play it straight from the cloud, like PS Now, but you're streaming through your URL. Like, that would be absolutely monster insane. Like, that's game changing. Microsoft is innovative. People tend to forget this. People always say Microsoft doesn't innovate. How do they not? How do they not? Introducing Ethernet gaming on the original Xbox, online gaming, live, multiplayer, a subscription service, the asymmetric controller. Like, come on. You can't beat that. And everybody loves the Xbox One controller. Xbox One controller. Even the guy from Ghost of a Tale I had on the other day said he loved the Xbox One controller. That tells you something when devs love the Xbox One controller. Everybody's innovating in some way. N64 introduced the analog stick. Nintendo they also started the bumpers with the left and right on the Super Nintendo. Genesis used to have 3 buttons back in the day. PlayStation, I guess you could say, added dual left bumper, right bumper. And then you had R2 and R2 and L2 on the bottom. So I think everybody's innovated in some type of form or fashion. They brought something to the table. I thought Kinect as a device is innovative. It just doesn't work properly for gaming, in my opinion. But still, I think that they have some really innovative things going on at Microsoft. They really do. And I think if they do this, they're going to shut the game down. You're going to have some upset ass people. People are going to be tight. They're going to be really tight. Hi, do you see this? XT3100, I do. Rowdy Gamer, upgradable console seems like a good idea, cheaper for the consumer and Microsoft if they acquire AMD. There's been talk about them acquiring AMD for some time. That is from Rowdy Gamer. There's been talk about them acquiring AMD for some time. Be honest with you, just to keep it real with you, oh man, DX12 works well with AMD, clearly. And they have Mantle. So they understand how APIs work. Microsoft working with AMD, if they purchased them, would be huge. It would be huge for them. But I can tell you right now, Sony would immediately go with NVIDIA. Immediately go with NVIDIA. And most people prefer NVIDIA over AMD. I think it's because the driver support for AMD. Now, with Microsoft's backing, that driver support should go up, but also I think they say with NVIDIA, they just feel like the quality is better with those cards as well. I'm not a PC gamer. I'm just based on a lot of jargon and talk that I hear when I talk to people, or I talk to engineers and things like that who build their own rigs and stuff. Because I always get into conversation with them. I go to school for information technology, so I deal with computers myself. And I'm probably going to wind up heading into that field as well eventually. But yeah, I think that if they went with AMD, it would be crazy, because then they'd be able to produce the card they want to produce at a cheaper price. Damn, I wouldn't even be surprised if they did that the more I think about it. If AMD keeps continuing on a slide that they have been the past fiscal year, if Microsoft steps up and picks them up, you better be damn sure the next Xbox about to be a beast. Like the next Xbox about to be a monster machine, without question. Microsoft software with AMD's tech, that Microsoft already bought Havok. They already bought the physics. Like, how do you buy the physics engine? Every game uses Havok. Like, Microsoft is just like OP. You know what I'm saying? Coming up with new abilities. Like, they went in the hyperbolic time chamber, came out with a new ability. They just bought Havok. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit's crazy to me. Like, that is not a game. People sleeping, dog. They sleeping. I will definitely do actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a Tick podcast live for the Windows 10 Xbox event. I wish I was in San Francisco, because Aaron Greenberg invited us out there, but living in Florida, that ain't gonna happen. It's bad enough I'm trying to stack up my paper to get to E3. E3 is a trip, man. Just to give you guys an idea what E3 was like for me last year and how it kind of worked out. We bought the plane tickets. I got my tickets on Virgin Airlines. This was when I was living in New York. I flew from New York to Cali, round trip, for like $475. Amazing deal. I was like, from New York to Cali on Virgin, amazing deal. Then I get on Virgin and realize the seats don't recline. Not one seat, bro. Not one seat. 5 hours on the plane, 5.5 hours on the plane, not one seat reclines. Absolutely insane. But it was a nice flight, though. It was. We picked up a hotel probably about 2 miles away from downtown LA. We had to take the train, which, by the way, LA, if you live in LA, why is your city filled with weirdos? LA is weirder than New York. It really is. Like, it's the weird. I have so many stories that I want to say, but it's like, this is not the proper time to talk about it. But LA is just a weird spot. It really is. But we paid like $8. It was like I don't know, less than $1,000 for a hotel stay, and 3 of us stayed in a hotel room, which was awesome, and everything like that. And we got down there to the convention center. The convention center is big as hell. People are everywhere. You're just walking around, and it's like, you see. Be honest with you, when I got there, it was like Sony Fest, 100%. They had paid for the marketing. I don't know what happened. Sony wound up getting the marketing for E3, and it just blew me away. Everything was Sony. It was Sony everywhere. It was like crazy. It was like Street Fighter over here, and it was like Destiny over here, Star Wars over here. I'm like, what the hell's going on? What the hell's on Microsoft stuff at? Like, there was no Microsoft marketing for E3 whatsoever. It was crazy. At times, we wanted to do videos and take pictures, but it was like we didn't want to market Sony stuff and wear Xbox podcast. It was just hilarious. But I had a great time there, man. I look forward to going this year. I'm so happy that we made it as media. I'm very, very proud of that. And I really thank all of you guys that are listening right now. You don't understand how important you are to Tick Podcasts. You really are. I don't know how I can stress this enough. I wish there was a way I could just like thank you guys and everything. And I'm working out some things and stuff. But man, I just really appreciate the support. What's my thoughts? XT 3100 asks, hey, what's your thoughts on cross-platform gaming for PS4 to Xbox One? Will never happen. It will never happen. It won't happen for the simple fact that Microsoft wants to do cross-play over live. This is the reason why you don't get some PC games with like for example, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy runs on their own servers. Microsoft can't control it. It sounds weird. It sounds harsh, but it's the truth. Microsoft can't control it. So because they can't control it, they're not going to do it. Most games that will now and think about this. This is now. This isn't like back in the day. This is now with what they're trying to do now. What they're trying to do now is they're trying to get the PC to Xbox One crossplay over live. That's the whole purpose. That's why they put the Xbox app on PC in the first place. So when you buy a game from the Windows Store, like for example, let's say Forza, the next Forza that comes out is Forza Horizon 3. You want to play Forza Horizon 3, they're going to connect you to the Xbox app and you're going to log into live. You're going to have your own live account. And then what's going to wind up happening is then you'll be able to play with the people who are on live using Azure on the Xbox One. You know, this is what's scary though, because Titanfall 2 is coming out and we all had so much fun on Titanfall 2 with Azure. And, you know, we all know how Titanfall was. We all know how EA servers are. EA servers are horrendous. So I really hope that at least the Xbox edition is Azure. You know what I'm saying? It would be really cool if they had cross-play with PC, but then it's funny. It's like I feel like Microsoft are taking, and I wonder if this is true. Just think about this for 1 second. Has any multi-platform games gone to PC yet? Like from the exclusive side of things. Let me think. Scalebound is a single player. I think Records are going to be a single player. Quantum Break's a single player. Killer Instinct's a multiplayer, but it's a fighting game. What else? Fable Legends, that's a team up, and that's like Swords as well. No shooters have gone to PC. No competitive shooters. Halo, maybe Gears 4 might not go. Phil did say if it makes sense, and I hate to say this, but keyboard and mouse is an advantage over controller. So I don't think any of the shooters will go. So a game like Titanfall probably wouldn't work on crossplay with the Xbox for the simple fact that it's a shooter and keyboard and mouse is king over controller because of the accuracy, the pinpoint accuracy, and the speed. So I don't think that would work. But that also is not going to work for PS4 either. And besides, PS4 has their own hybrid peer-to-peer part dedicated server junk, whatever they're working with. Do you know if the February Drop D Unchained says, do you know if the February 25th event will be live streamed? Aaron said it will be like their past early year Microsoft conferences, while Rand stated they won't be live streaming it. Well, I know last year they they did stream it over the Xbox Live experience. What is it called? The Xbox Live event app. They got like two apps. Like, why? They need to get rid of them. Be honest with you, I hate duplicate apps. I feel like they got duplicate apps in the App Store. They have like an Xbox Live event apps and an EXP app. Like, why? Get rid of one of those apps. No, but I would hope they would stream it. It would make sense to stream it, especially if you're going to be talking about things. I would hate to have them show stuff off to the press and then the fans don't see it. That would be horrendous. Really, you need the publicity. You really do right now. With the console gamers, you need the publicity. You need to make the console gamers feel right. You know, I mean, the casuals out there in the world, they don't know. They don't care. But some of the hardcore guys that still feel betrayed or whatever, you know, they still in their feelings. You need to make that right with them. Connect is powerful sensor and many other. It is. I said this before, son. Son Brian says Connect is a powerful sensor in many other areas. It is a very powerful sensor. That's why I got a chance to speak with the people over at Ceridium Digital. They're working on a game called The Lost Pisces. I have that in my On the Red Carpet section. You should check it out. They're actually building a game where it's pretty dope. I'll give you a quick synopsis. They're building a game called Lost Pisces. There's a girl, she follows you. Her name is Pisces. The enemies in the world are so large. It's a combination, and this is what he describes the game as. The game is described as part Ico, part tower defense, part Half-Life 2. That is like three insane things in one. I don't even understand how that even works. But what he says is that you play as this character named Pisces. Pisces reads your face with the Connect. Now, it's a bonus. You don't have to use Connect, but it's a bonus. It reads your facial expressions, your emotions, where you're looking at things like that. And the more you interact with her, the more her personality becomes. In the process, she's Pisces, the sign, the constellation. So you have to fight the other signs. And each one of them is a giant, kind of like in Ico. Not Ico, and Shadow of the Colossus, excuse me. I keep saying Ico. Shadow of Colossus. So you have to fight Capricorn, Scorpio, Taurus, Leo, and so on and so forth. And then what they do is, at the same time, they give you time to find as many scrap metal and all stuff like that to build up a defense against these giant enemies, because you can't take them head on because they're giants. So you have to build up this defense like a tower defense game, and you have to protect her from these giants while playing the game. It sounds dope. And then I actually got those guys connected with the Idea Xbox program, and now it's actually a console exclusive. So I'm very proud of that, and very proud of reaching out to them and getting that game on the Idea Xbox program. And I'm trying to help get Ghost of a Tale, which I had on this weekend. I'm trying to get that thing on a preview program because he didn't even know about it. Like, this dev didn't even know, like, what is Microsoft doing sometimes? He didn't even know about it. He's talking about putting his thing on Steam Greenlight. I'm like, what about Microsoft? What about Xbox? He's like, have you heard of it? I'm like, did you hear about the preview program? And he's like, I did. But then I'm like, man, listen, I got you. I got you, son. I got you. You know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it, dog. I got you. So I hooked him up with IOCAT, which is Chris Charlotte, the director of the Idea Xbox program. And hopefully we see that game sometime this year on preview program. If it does hit preview program, remember who said it and brought it to you first. Nobody loves you like Tick Podcast. All right, let me see. Von Shell says, I think Microsoft's so far ahead that it confuses people right now. It damn sure confused me. I'll tell you that much. They are far ahead. They are thinking 5 years in the future. Like, seriously. In 5 years, when the next Xbox come out, they're going to be like 10 steps ahead of everybody else. Seriously. Like, Sony's playing it in now. Nintendo's playing in their own world. I don't even know. They're talking about a 900p console. Nintendo is like in their own galaxy with Mario for real. Like, they're in another world. But Microsoft is playing long ball, bro. They're playing in the future, man. And right now we're all a little confused and trying to figure out where they're going. But when we get there, game shut down. Sorry. The D21 exclusive says, hey, is Young Conquer a real thing? If it is, when do you expect a reveal? Also, what's going on with Jet Force Gemini? Young Conquer is a real thing. Speaking with Jez from Windows Central, a close friend of ours, he said it is a real thing as he spoke to somebody who works for Microsoft. Young Conquer seems like it's going to be a reboot of the Conquer franchise. However, it is rated teen. Don't expect it to be a mature game at all. They're going to try to appeal to a young generation as much as possible and make this a very big, appealing platform, not to a limited bunch. They really need this. They need their games to sell. But if they can keep it a little mature here and there and everything like that, and then maybe as they make the next Conquer, because he's older, he's more of an adult, they can make it a little bit more raunchy, a little bit more colorful, then that would be pretty cool. I don't know if it's going to be a 3D game or a side-scrolling game. All Conquerors so far have been 3D, so I don't know what to expect. That's up to Rare in whatever direction they take it. For Jet Force Gemini, I think that could be a real game. They did renew the trademark for it. It could just have been a renewal trademark, but I think that they are working on something with Jet Force Gemini, and I wouldn't be surprised eventually that they surprise us with some type of like recreation of the game for Xbox One. They have so many franchises between Rare and their old portfolios. Microsoft has a ton of games. People always sleep and think Microsoft has no games. They got so many games. I just don't know what they're doing. I'm glad Rare is able to get back to what they're doing and pump out some stuff. Let's see here. Yeah, man, DBZ, man. I know I'm like way behind, bro. I'm way behind in the comments. I'm trying to catch up. Yeah, I'm a big DBZ fan. I'm a big anime head, period. I'm going too far ahead. Okay. Thanks, 2-Bit. We tried, man. We had actually better coverage than that. We had a technical issue. We had actual interviews with interviews with Dan Greenwald from Forza. We had interviews with a couple of other rare guys. We had interviews with the Super Hot team. We had interviews with the people who are producing what is it? Fire in the Flood. I forget the name of the game, but it's another indie dev. We had a few of them. We've like interviewed the Fable guys. We had so much stuff. The problem was that the video was on this format that for some apparent reason my homeboy couldn't convert because his computer was messed up. So we had like 10 gigs worth of video and we couldn't convert the video. We couldn't get it to an MP format to get it up on YouTube, and it's literally just sitting there. We can't do anything about it right now. If he did, it would take a long time to convert because it's such a big file. But if he did, I would definitely put it up. I'll put it up like some hip hop stuff. The lost tapes. Take podcasts and lost tapes and throw it up there. E3 2015. Clue exclusive. All right, let me see where we at. And remember, speaking of Conquer, remember that rumor about, I think his name was Jamie Kennedy. He's a wrestler. He was talking about he was doing a voiceover for a super secret squirrel game. What do you think that game is? Young Conquer. What are some really good apps for Xbox One? Oh man, do I have my Xbox on? It is on. I have a couple apps that I like. Let me see if I can run through them real quick. If I can get my TV to turn on, give me half a second. All right, so some of the apps that I have that I recommend. First of all, if you're trying to speak, you know, they got a Rosetta Stone app on here. Dude, I'm trying to learn Japanese, so I don't have to read subtitles no more when I watch these animes. Real talk. They have all of the movie apps, which I use because I cut the cord. I don't have cable. So I have Encore Epics. They got HBO Showtime. All that stuff is up there. Let's see. They got FX Now, which is a solid app if you want to watch FX. Groove, if you into music, is up there. But you know what's crazy? I think what a lot of people don't realize is that if you have music, you can upload the music to OneDrive. And then what happens is OneDrive will sync with the Groove app, and you can play all your music from the cloud. But you have to upload your music to OneDrive. That's why they gave you so much memory. I think it's like a terabyte or like 10 terabytes on there or something like that. If you put all your music on OneDrive, you can then stream it right to the Groove app and play your music right from the Groove app. Pretty cool. I wonder if people knew about that. I have Machinima. They're not bad. They're pretty cool. They got some stuff up there. Just on the top of my head, some really good ones. Plex is solid if you have like movies and stuff like that on your Xbox. I mean, on your PC, you can add those to Plex and watch them over your Xbox. Obviously, Skype. I have Sci-Fi Now. I love Sci-Fi Channel. Hey, there's a thing on here called the Mall. And the Mall is, and I said this before in another podcast, the Mall is actually a store. It's a store app where you can actually buy stuff. Remember back in the day on the Connect when they first introduced it and they were showing a little girl and she was like standing in front of the Connect. It was putting clothes on her. That's exactly what the Mall is. If you stand in front of the Connect, you can actually dress yourself up and put clothes up and stand in front of it and see how it looks on you. Clearly, you're gonna look retarded, but at least it gives you a sense of what you may be purchasing and how it may look once you get it. I don't know if it has name brand stuff like, sneakers, Jordans, things like that, or if it has, any type of clothes, name brand or anything like that. But I haven't really gone through it myself. But I guess I'll give it a try and give a better evaluation another time. Oh man, let me see here. I got Vivo. I watch videos every once in a blue. Voodoo is solid. I got the Vine app. I think the Vine app is stupid. Am I the only one that thinks the Vine app is stupid? Like it just gives you like repeated reruns of one person. It's not even a Vine. It's like 30 seconds or 10 seconds of one person twice in a row. Stupid. Let's see. I got the Xbox Avatar app. They got the Xbox Accessories app. YouTube, Xbox Live events. I definitely have the wireless display. Wireless display is solid too if you're like trying to stream something from your laptop or watch something from your laptop on the screen. That's a pretty good pickup as well. It's not really that many apps. Most of my apps are like entertainment stuff: Netflix, Hulu, HBO Go, FX, Epix, EA Access, Crunchyroll, Amazon. Yeah, it's nothing that's really too crazy. But if you're into like a lot of entertainment stuff, that's definitely the thing to get. And I like Voodoo a lot, but I kind of rock with Xbox because they give me free money. Let me try to catch up here because I'm like running behind and I don't want you guys to get bored. All right, so let's see. Where we at now? Here we go. Okay. Rowdy Gamer says, even though Sony may go to NVIDIA, they would be more expensive where AMD and Microsoft could cut a deal for a GPU in their budget. If Microsoft AMD own AMD, they ain't got to cut nothing. they just mass produce them joints if they want to, be honest with you. It'd be no different than, you're your own company. I mean, obviously they have to kick out resources for R&D and that's going to cost money, but I mean, they definitely can just, if they really want to, like if they really, really want to, they could definitely just do whatever the hell they want. All right, TX3100, he says, night, go to bed. He probably got off already. Talking to him more late. I feel you, Rowdy. The X Chaotic Panther, the Xbox One Win 10 event, February 25th, everybody announced it. I'm so behind. What the hell? Why am I so behind? All right, let me see. Not sure if they will live stream the event. Anime month for Xbox. Oh, LOL. A lot of things are on sale. True. I mean, to be honest with you, well, if I have to say it, I'm like a super anime head. Like I don't admit that in person. You know what I'm saying? Like if I do that in person, people might look at me like I'm suspect or something. I don't admit that in person, but I'm a big anime head. I've watched everything on Hulu. I have Crunchyroll. I watch I won't say everything on Crunchyroll because Crunchyroll has some stuff, but I watch a lot of good things on Crunchyroll. I've watched everything on Hulu. I grew up on anime, so I'm a big anime head. If I could start my own anime channel, I would. I just don't have the time for it, so that's not gonna happen. What do you think? 2-Bit Jesus says, what do you think Microsoft will stop adding? Excuse me. When do you think Microsoft will stop adding games to backwards compatibility? I'll be honest with you. Microsoft has such a large library of games on the 360 that they could probably go to the end of the generation. These games are trickling out like 2-3 games a month, 4 games a month now. They're not waiting to put 10 games on at a time. So they can just keep putting out games every time they get a license. But you also have to remember some companies are defunct. And some of the licensing is like really, really old. So you're not going to get a lot of games that you wish you could get because those companies no longer exist. And then you have to go to back channels of who owns it and get the licensing for it. So it's not ideal. Son Brian says, what you used to watch anime, I want original voice acted with English subtitles. Yeah. What do I used to watch anime? I will use Crunchyroll. Crunchyroll mainly. I like Crunchyroll as HD. I get them the same day, like simultaneously cast in Japan. They come on the same time in the States. And I prefer Japanese voices over English as well. English just sounds so not authentic. It's definitely not on point. There's something about the Japanese voices that feel authentic. I love the Japanese comedy of it. It's hilarious. Yeah, so I definitely want to go with that. Rowdy Gamer says, when will you have some random gamers in a podcast? I got a lot to say. I bet. I always have, man. I try to get people on as often as possible, but you got to be careful. You know what I'm saying? Like you get to chatting with people in person and you'd be like, this dude is weird, man. Like you can't admit that, but you just be like, I don't know. You know, you had to really like think twice about it. But you know, I try to get the fans on because those are the people that matter. When we first started Take Podcasts, it was always about, you know, for the fans, by the fans, because we're fans and we were doing it for you. So we wanted to have a place that you guys would be vocal. You can be vocal as well. Along the way, it took off into a different direction. I think the reason why we're here today is all thanks to Phil Spencer. Listen, I can't thank Phil Spencer enough. People don't realize this, but Phil Spencer is the person that really has made us push ourselves to get to this point. Because when we first started, we were just a regular podcast like everybody else, a fledgling podcast that just came up, 300 YouTube subscribers. You know, we didn't have nothing on iTunes, nothing on MP3, anything like that. So, you know, because of that, we didn't really like, what we tried to do was we just tried to be honest about Xbox because people were still trying to rip it. People were still telling lies. They weren't being factual. And I felt like, and there's no disrespect to any other podcast, but I just remember listening to some people and I'd just be like, what are they talking about? Like no one knew what they were talking. Like people wanted to sound like they knew what they were talking about, but nobody really knew what they were talking about. It was a lot of like misinformation being given out by our own Xbox community podcasters. And as somebody that's been gaming for a very long time and somebody that loves gaming and it's a passion, I'm always on top of my game. Like I'm always knowledgeable about what's happening in the industry with games. And if I don't know something, I try to know something. I try to get the right information before I start running my mouth because I don't want to look stupid. The last thing you want to do as someone that's giving people information is give them false information because they use that information in arguments. It happens. We're gamers. So when you want to get into a beef with somebody, you don't want to be like, well, I got this information from Take Podcast. I'm going to use it. And then the next thing you know, you look stupid because you was wrong and I was wrong. So I don't want to do that. I don't want to put you in that position. You know what I'm saying? So I try to, you know, try to get the right information and things like that. And we had reached out. We said, hey, let's try to get somebody on the show. And our first guest actually wasn't Phil Spencer. Our first guest was Henry Sturchy, who was the creative director at Microsoft, and he was working on Project Spark. And he was super cool. And I learned a lot about him. And, you know, Ken Lobb hired him when he was like a kid. Like, it was crazy. Like him, it was like 3 people in the industry I know that started when they were children. It was him. I think he started when he was like 16. Jeff Keighley started when he was like 16 or 17. And Cliff Blazinski started when he was like 17 or 18. So those guys all started young. And just talking to him was cool. And then somehow we hooked up with Phil Spencer. You know, this is right around when he first became the head of Xbox. So he wasn't as busy as he is now. I'm struggling to get him on the show. He's like, every time I talk to him, he's like, he wants to do it, but he's busy or he can't make it this time. Or he's like, okay, hit me up next month. Like, we're always pushing things back. Like, I'm trying to find the right spot to get him. But as the head of Xbox, this man is traveling all over the world. He's like, I mean, you know, the man's busy. He's not like how he was when he first started. But in the end, we got Phil on the show. And that blew us up. Like, that thing was everywhere, bro. That thing was on IGN. It was on GameSpot, Polygon, everywhere. Like, that video still, I mean, it's not a lot. 26,000 hits. That's not a lot. But for us at the time, it was incredible. Like, we've never seen anything like that when we first started in 2014. It was incredible. And it was weird because I was sitting here saying to myself, where do I go from here? Like, it's one thing when you start from the bottom and you work your way up. I'm already at the top. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many podcasts can say that? I'm already at the top. I had to figure out how to, you know, continue to create. So what I decided to do was, you know what? I'm going to go in this direction because no one is really getting the information that Microsoft is, being honest about or telling people are missing it. So that's what I started doing. And I wanted to introduce people to the Xbox team that's helping save the Xbox after the fiasco of the reveal and the launch. And that's how Tick Podcast was born. And we started hitting up devs, executives, and all the stuff like that. And I really appreciate Microsoft for, I guess you could say appreciating us and, giving us passes in the E3 and talking with us and giving us access to them and the things that they're working on and chatting with them in private, and just all types of stuff, man. Just really cool people. And I'll forever be grateful. But at the same time, I'm not a sheep. I'm not going to kiss nobody's butt. And, I'm going to constantly and continue to be honest. Maybe that will never, maybe we'll never be the official podcast for Xbox. I don't mind being a premier podcast for Xbox and continuing to be Tick. You know what I'm saying? I have no problems with that because that keeps me authentic. Nobody has their hands in my pocket. I'm definitely not getting paid. I can tell you that much. I ain't getting paid. So I'm always going to be real. But I think even if I was with Microsoft, I would still try to be real. I try to be as real as much as possible. Black and Red Test said, I want to try and become a writer for Tick. How can I make that happen? Well, that would be excellent, brother, because we are always looking. We are actually expanding. I want people to understand something. Tick Podcast and Tick Podcast will continue to be about Xbox, so you can forget about that. But TICGN is expanding into the PC market because Microsoft is expanding into the PC market. But we'll also be talking about Steam, GOG, and any other services out there that can help with gaming, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to be able to grow our install base besides Xbox fans, while also keeping the place a great space for the Xbox community. That means not bringing in trolls from the PlayStation side. Nintendo will be cool, but Nintendo fans are like, I don't even know, bro. Like Nintendo fans are fickle. It's like they don't really complain. They really don't say nothing. You know what I'm saying? Nintendo fans are like the kids in the yard that just be in the corner playing Skelly. Playing like, jacks or something like that. Everybody else is on the monkey bars playing tag. They just in the corner. They don't bother nobody. People won't even see them. Like that's just how it is. I hate to sound that way. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is. But the PlayStation guys are like the bully. They try to be the bullies on the block. And the Xbox dudes is like, dude, it ain't happening, and then the next thing you know, the comic section gets all crazy and, you're just not comfortable being on the site. So I try to make a spot for the Xbox community so that way they can have a place to come get news. If they want to communicate with each other in the comment section, they can. I'm still trying to figure out how to build that. We don't get a lot of comments, but we get a lot of views, which is awesome. Some people say they want forums. I have discuss, shall I say, and people can go on Discuss and they can chat in that and everything like that. And, we'll regulate that, how we need to regulate that. But I appreciate everybody that comes on or checks out the site and gives us a hit and a click and appreciates the content that we put out. But definitely, Black, hit me up. Send me a message at Tick_podcast on Twitter if you have Twitter. If not, send me an email to admin@ticgn.com. Admin@ticgn.com. Send me an email. We'll chat about that. And send me a sample of your work. Do a review or something and send me a sample. I'll check it out and we'll see what we can do. Yo, Rowdy, I feel you, man. Hey, I'm a writer. People don't know that about me. Like I've been writing a novel for like the last 10 years. I would love for this thing to be a game. This is like therapeutic for me. It really is. Just talking to you guys is like therapeutic for me. I feel like we all connect and we all chatting, and it's like gamers talking to gamers, and you guys understand my thoughts and I understand your thoughts and everything like that. It's like super awesome. But yeah, man, I'm a writer, so I love like to write about, I guess you could say, sci-fi, fantasy, things like that or whatever. And I had this amazing idea for this game. I wish I could find an artist. That's the one thing I've been looking for. I've been looking for artists because one, I want to redesign the logo, and for another, I also want to create this amazing merchandise idea that I have that will be awesome for the community, as well as to help Tick continue to keep the website up and the podcast going. Because once again, I don't get paid like that. So, you know what I'm saying? How I'm going to pay my bills, I'm coming out of pocket. Oh man. Alex Gomez says, "Hey, I got a question. Which is your guys' website? I remember you guys promoting ICXM.net and said you were teaming up with some other company. Then you guys were promoting TIC. Yeah, what happened was ICXM. First of all, ICXM is our name. Just want to get that clear. Okay, it was called the Inner Circle. The Inner Circle Xbox. The Inner Circle of Microsoft. Oh no, the Inner Circle of Xbox and Microsoft. That's what it was meant to be. The Inner Circle of Xbox and Microsoft. And we were merging, and it was cool for a while, but then we just had some disagreements. We just had disagreements on direction and things like that. I don't want to throw anybody under the bus. I love those guys over at ICXM, so I'm not gonna go into detail, but we just had different ideas of how to approach media and how to get our content out to the community. And so I decided that the best thing to do was just to separate. We could still be, brothers. We're in the US, they're in the UK. And I really think those guys over there at Xbox Mad, because they gave us our first shot. And that's what's helped us build such an amazing UK fan base. I love my UK fan base, man. These guys are so honest, and they hit me up on Twitter all the time. So dope. And, without them, without Xbox Mad at the time, Tick Podcast would still be probably unknown between them and Anchorman V at the time, who gave us our first shot coming on the show. So I'm really grateful to both of them, but it just didn't work out. So we created our own thing and our own brand, and we go the direction that we want, because we're able to be in control and we don't have to go back and forth on anything. So yes, it's TICGN.com. That is the Inner Circle Game Network. Pretty much anything Tick is going to run through the network. I just feel like you guys need way more than just 800, 2,000 views each vid. I try to share your vids everywhere. Louis, hey, man, you know what it is? We're just not controversial. You know what I'm saying? That's just not our MO. It's like people gravitate towards drama and noise, and you get a lot of hits when people argue. So if you check out my videos, and this is the God on the show, if you check out my videos, I literally have like 1 or 2 thumbs down per video at the most. Some videos, I don't even have any thumbs down. Most of the time, it's like, 50, 60, 90, 119 thumbs up, because people appreciate the content I put out and they respect my opinion. And even the ones that don't respect my opinion, they still like the videos. But you don't have people arguing in my chats. No one is, attacking each other. I don't have a lot of PlayStation heads trying to rip Xbox people apart. People come in, they talk, they agree, they give their opinions, and they come up with different things. So I don't really get the recognition for the content that we put out. But you know what? In my opinion, you guys are the most important people to me, because you guys care about the podcast. You guys come and show up and listen week in and week out. And even if just one of you guys will listen, I would do the show, because I feel like you guys feel that my voice is needed. And if my voice is needed in the community, then I'll be that voice. And when you guys stop listening and you guys get tired of Tick Podcast, and I'll retire. Until then, I'll try to continue to do what I can for the community and for the fans out there that want to listen. Look at AC. AC coming at me talking about, I'm glad to see you're embracing the PC merge. I have no choice, man. This is forced upon me, yo. I have no choice. What can I do? What can I say? I'm not going to buy an Xbox. I'm canceling all my pre-order. I don't pre-order games. I just buy them straight out. But I'm not going to play. Of course, I'm going to play Xbox. I'm an Xbox dude, man. It's my community here, man. It's my brothers and sisters right here. So I'm definitely going to continue to play on Xbox until Xbox gives me a reason not to play anymore. That would be a very sad day for me, though. It really would be a sad day if something happened. I just was like, I can't do it with Microsoft no more. I thought about that. I thought about, damn, if I can't do Microsoft anymore, should I go multi-plat? Would that be hypocritical of me? But I mean, if that's what it is, just to continue to talk about gaming, that might be something I would do. But as of right now, nah, Microsoft hasn't given me any reasons or options to feel that way whatsoever. So yeah, I mean, if they continue to produce the games that I want to play, I think that's all that matters. And by the way, for those who don't know, they got this JRPG coming out called Stranger in Source City. I just signed up for a contest to try to get TICGN to be one of the few websites that gets recognized by the devs, and put on like the box or whatever of the game of like the reviews. Like it's pretty dope. Like I'm like, oh my god, I gotta do this. Especially being like the RPG head that loves JRPGs, I gotta see what this game is like and play it and try to review it. Clearly, it's going to be a biased review. I'm just letting you guys know that right now because they obviously want positivity, nothing negative. So expect a biased review from me for this game. TICGN YouTube channel is broke. It's like we've had 2 channels and we don't know what to do with them. You know, I actually have been looking for content creators for YouTube, trying to find people who are creative, maybe can come up with different shows, can do highlight reels, people that are good in the video space, like know how to work with videos and, you know, work with like Adobe Pro and know how to manipulate videos and do things like that, voiceovers and stuff. I've been looking for people like that. It's hard to find them, honestly, but I would love to have a great channel for TICGN worth of like entertaining content and news. I think that would be pretty dope. Something I'm going to work hard on. Thank you, Panther. Yeah, we were on game trailers. That I told you, man. I was on I went on a whole diatribe on Twitter about game trailers when they closed down. It was depressing for me. I started out on game trailers in like 2000, I don't know, 2004 or 2005. I was with game trailers for long. I still have an account. I had an account there. And I used to watch all the trailers because that's what I was into, just video game trailers in the forum section. That's when it was like live. Everybody was in game trailers chatting, and then it just died out one by one. And I remember saying I was going to start a podcast, and I was looking for help, and some people just blew me off. Some people gave me ideas, but here we are today, a pretty not large, not well known, but successful. That's how I would look at it. You know, small but successful. Yeah. Okay. Dresky says, I'm late to the show, Tick, but I'm going to run it back when it's uploaded. No doubt, brother. I appreciate that. Voodoo Rob said, Microsoft will buy AMD. I know for a fact that this is in the works. These deals take years to materialize. However, I'm 100% this is happening. And if that happens, it's going to cause a ripple. Dude, it makes sense. Pick up AMD. You already have Habit Physics. You already have cloud. You work out something with Steam. You have the IPs, one ecosystem under Windows, and then on top of all law, cloud browser streaming. Shut the game down, drop the mic, walk out the room, Phil Spencer. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. You know how when we watch like E3 and these events, and the Japanese people come up on stage and they be like, no disrespect to the Japanese people, by the way. I'm just saying, and we don't understand what they're saying because they need a translator. That's exactly what Phil should do. And everybody who don't speak English should be like, what is he talking about? But a bomb was just dropped on them. And when they realize and they get that thing translated and they all in shock and awe, like 5 minutes later, that'd be so dope. Like it really would be dope. Hey, Rowdy, appreciate you stopping in, man. Definitely. I'm going to do, let me see what we got. 135, 10 more minutes, 145, and then we'll cut out. I did that, Louis, actually. I trimmed down the, Louis Shark says, next Tick experience, I think you guys should trim the vids down and upload all the interviews for the people that just want the interviews. If you actually go to Tick Podcast, there's two events. One is 3 hours long. I think the other is about, I don't know, 40 minutes or an hour. The other one is just all chats. There's, you know, the first one that's 3 hours, which a lot of people appreciate it. It's actually just us going through all of E3, walking around, talking to people, you know, bumping into people, seeing celebrities and seeing developers and looking at how the showroom floor is and just giving everyone an aspect of E3 that they normally would not experience. And I've had so many people thank me for that because they are around the world, you know, people in, you know, on the other side of the planet that's probably going to work right now. You know, they're like, I would never be able to go to E3. And you just gave me that. And I was very happy and very proud to be able to give that experience to them. So, That was awesome. At the same time, I've had people say, hey, can you trim the video? I just want to see the interviews. And that's what I did. I pulled the videos, and then I made one where I just have the tick experience and, just all interviews. I'm chatting with Greenberg, Phil Spencer, Jeff Keighley, Kudo. I chat with Major Nelson. I chat with a ton of people. I chat with a lot of people. I even chat with Adam Boyce from PS4, from PlayStation. I caught him coming down the stairs, and I got a chance to chat with him for a minute. He was pretty cool. He could have been a jerk and be like, I told him straight out, hey, I'm an Xbox podcast. He wasn't like, oh, well, I'm out. He was mad cool. He was like, that's what's up. And I chatted with him a little bit about the whole Shenmue thing and everything. And he was like, yeah, that's the effect we were looking for and stuff, So it was pretty cool, man. Cool people, man. People are people in real life. Let's see. When is the next wave of BC games coming? Any predictions? Oh man, next wave of BC games. I don't know. They don't give dates, man. They just trickling out right now. So you can expect there's not going to be any dates for that, but you can expect these games to trickle out over time. And I'm pretty sure we're going to start getting some pretty decent ones. Mostly will be arcade to start because it's easier to get the arcade games on to get the bigger titles, the AAAs and stuff. But we already see Red Dead is going to come eventually. I told you, they took Red Dead off the market just like they took Alan Wake off. Guess what's going to happen? You think I'm lying? Watch when Rockstar announced Red Dead 2. I know. Actually, I know Red Dead Redemption is Red Dead 2 because the first one was Red Dead Revolver. But whenever they announce the next Red Dead, watch them put Red Dead Redemption in the box with Red Dead. I'm telling you, Microsoft got that marketing deal with Rockstar, bro. I'm telling you. Seriously. It just makes sense. Alan Wake was up, they took it down. Left 4 Dead was up, they took it down. Red Dead Redemption was up, they took it down. Be crazy. Hey, I heard a rumor that Killer Instinct may put Shinobi in. They may put Shinobi in Killer Instinct. Now, how crazy would that be? Would you guys be excited to play with Shinobi in Killer Instinct? That'd be pretty dope, I think, if they did that. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, my new subscribers. Yeah, I know. Adam Boyce. That was funny. Oh man, Nubian Pride says, how do you explain to these PS4 fanatics that their system is not classic Sony anymore without getting that BS list thrown at you? Clear, you can easily just tell them this isn't the PS2 days. Classic Sony would have been pumping out IP after IP. They wouldn't have relied on third party. They wouldn't have been trying to figure out any type of service, any type of way to milk money out of you. With PS Now, that's probably been in beta for like a decade. Classic Sony, what made Sony so great back in the day, besides their unique IPs, was that they always had something new and fresh. You know what's new and fresh on Sony consistently? Indie titles and JRPGs, and not even like the mega ones, just like a lot of smaller JRPGs, ones that hit Vita first and didn't come out on the PS4 later. And there's nothing wrong with that. I had nothing against PlayStation 4. I love JRPGs. I don't have the time to play that many JRPGs. I have to be selective. I have a life now. I'm an older person. I'm not 40. I'm 35. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an old man. Don't get it twisted. I'm just saying that I'm an older person now, not like when I was in my 20s, but I could just, rack out JRPGs left and right. I can't. So I have to be selective in what I play. And, people say that, they have the most games, they have the most exclusives. That's true. A good 55, 60% of those are on PC, but we're going to run with that. And Xbox has some really good exclusives as well. And a lot of those games are Japanese and they're not coming to Xbox because Xbox doesn't do well in Japan. And because they don't do well in Japan, they're not going to attempt to put those games on the Xbox One. And I said this before in another podcast, if you're from the same country as me and a foreign company is trying to get games off me, why would I support that foreign company, especially when they have less than 100,000 consoles on the market? That sounds like a hole for me. So I'm not going to do that. and then just completely ignore the West. So they just put all the games on PlayStation and then they just come out on PlayStation. Microsoft has some gems. I actually would prefer if Microsoft invested in JRPGs and every single one of their JRPGs was AAA, with AAA games, not indies. Small. They have a couple small ones coming, but like if there was another Scalebound, if they did another Lost Odyssey, if they did, if they did something like that, I would prefer that over the smaller AA, NA, or indie JRPGs. You've never hold up, timeout. Christian Raya says KI is my favorite game, but I've never heard of the Shinobi game. Bro, how old are you? What year were you born? Like, Shinobi dog was the classic back in the day on Genesis and Super Nintendo, bro. You know what I'm saying? Before Ninja Gaiden, I mean Ninja Gaiden was out there too, but Shinobi was the game. Like Ninja Gaiden became the game on the Xbox, but before Xbox, when it was on the Super Nintendo and the Genesis, Shinobi was that game, bro. They tried to put it on, I think, PS2 back in the day, and it flopped. It didn't do well. I think it was 360, actually, but it didn't do well. But definitely, man, definitely look up Shinobi. Shinobi was the jump off back in the day. And then they reworked Ninja Gaiden, and then we got this amazing hard-ass game that everybody fell in love with, which actually went on decline over time. Let's see what we got. We got 2 minutes left. Shinobi. Alan Wake 2 is on, man. Yeah, Brandon. Kelvin says Alan Wake 2 is in development and will use the same engine as Quantum Break running DX12. Yes, it will. I absolutely agree. AC7 says this year is so good for JRPGs. Just wish more of them were coming to Xbox. I agree. I wish more of them was coming. I'm still stressing that. I know Kingdom Hearts is in the JRPG, but they need to bring the, first two, whatever, how they're doing remasters, reboots, whatever, 2.5. They need to bring it to the Xbox. I just think that's not right. And I hope that Star Ocean gets ported. Persona don't have to come, but I hope we get a Tales game, and I hope that they port Star Ocean. It would be awesome if they did that. I would be very grateful if they did that. Yeah, Chris. Shinobi hasn't had any recent installments, but he's a classic ninja. He's a classic man. You know what I'm saying? He's classic, man. Like Shinobi was the man back in the day. A lot of us older guys, we remember Shinobi. I respect Shinobi. He was dope. Nubian Pride. Christian says that KI is a budget game and that they wouldn't spend money on KI trying to get another IP. I don't know. KI is going to PC, so if I'm trying to expand out to the PC market, spending more money on KI to make it appeal to all these new people, I think would be really good. I mean, clearly putting first party characters in would be awesome, but maybe adding a Darkstalkers character, maybe adding one third party character, I think would be dope. Would be really, really big. I think that'd be big. Louis like 5 more minutes. What time is it? What do we have on the counter? We have, all right, that's cool. 150. All right, 150, fellas. 150. I agree, Christian. I said this before. I feel that Christian says he thinks that they will go for Gears of War, probably the dude from Gears 2 with a double chainsaw. He's talking about Scourge from Gears of War. I said this as well. I actually reached out to Adam Isgreen about it and gave him my list of games that I thought his list of characters I thought should come to the PS. Excuse me, that should come to the Xbox One, and for Killer Instinct. And one of the characters I listed was Scourge. I said, you know what, Scourge would be awesome. If you ever played Soul Calibur, there was a character on there named Khalik. He was my favorite character with the bow. He was a beast. Oh my God, that power up when he used to slide up the staff and then just pick it up and slam the ground was so epic. You kill somebody with one of those, oh my God, forget it. They lose so much health. He was such a beast character. And it would be dope to have him with dual chainsaws on a staff. and gave him the ability to use it similarly in a way like Khalid did on Soul Calibur. He was a staff wielder and he used it like a staff, and he's able to keep people at a distance. And if he needs to get close up, if people get close up, then he can do maybe some grabs or some throws and things like that, things that allow to get people off him. But he was more of a distance fighter. I think that would be pretty dope. I did see something about Capcom trying to revive Darkstalkers after Street Fighter V. Maybe Microsoft could work something out and license Darkstalkers characters into KI. I still think they should put Dimitri in from Darkstalkers. He fits right in. He would be a vampire. He would fit right into the fold of that franchise. Be honest with you. And they would have vampire, werewolf, a mummy. You know what I'm saying? A golem. They would have some characters. They'd be pretty dope. Onimusha would be a big title as well. I think Onimusha, though, would be exclusive to PlayStation because it was exclusive to PlayStation back in the day. And a lot of Xbox fans don't know about, Onimusha like that. Shout out to No Fro Gaming. I don't even know what that is, but he asked me to shout him out. So I'm going to do it for the fans, by the fans. Spawn. Yeah, Spawn should come to KI. Some people say that they want Spawn back, but I'm like, Spawn was in Soul Calibur. Like, I don't really want to have characters that have been in other games. Spawn would be an ill character to bring. I just don't want to have characters that I've seen before. I want somebody new, somebody different. I don't want Serious Sam. Serious Sam is like a knockoff Duke Nukem. I wouldn't buy it. Nubian Pride is like, he heard Serious Sam 4 is in the works. I'm like, I don't know. Chaotic Parent says, by the way, Arc developer hinted Microsoft buying Arc on. Dude, if Microsoft buys Arc, oh my God, son. This game, I swear, like literally, I want to just make a show and recruit people to join me in Arc. Like sometimes I just want to use my platform to promote stuff, and I hate doing that, but I think it's like the easiest way to get the word out. I literally built an entire base. I took over a whole beach on the south side of the map. They have these things called Behemoth Gates. We I don't know how many hours we spent 2 days building these Behemoth Gates and making them walls. We made them walls around the whole beach, up the side of a mountain, all the way down the side of a mountain, around the opposite side of the beach until they connected. We literally isolated ourselves off from the rest of the game. The only way to get into our base is to fly over top. Not even dinosaurs can get into our base. On top of the mountain, we have a complete forest with wood, trees, stones. We have every dinosaur. We have the Quetzal. We have the armadillo. We got 2 Spinos, 2 T-Rexes. We got like 5 wolves, like 35 raptors. Like we even got a spider. We tamed a spider. You know we was serious when we tamed a spider. You know how hard it is to tame a spider in a cave? Dude, my team is no joke. My team is the problem in Arc. But the thing is, we're on PvE, not PvP, which is a pain in the butt because PvP, people will destroy your stuff. We would have never accomplished that if he was on PvP. But I heard that soon they'll allow you to transfer your character from server to server. So if that happens, that would be big. Cool. So listen, man, I want to thank everybody from coming out to the show. If there's any last questions, I'll answer your last question if it's pertaining to Xbox or anything like that. We will have Ryan McCaffrey on the show next week. Let me check my calendar real quick just to double check. I believe it's the 20th. Yes, we will have Ryan McCaffrey on the show. I'll be doing an interview with him on the 19th, but he will be on the show on the 20th. You guys can check that out. I'm definitely going to get a chance to pick his brain a little bit about, how he got in the industry and things like that, as well as address a few things that Xbox fans had concern with about the quality of the podcast and some of his comments and things like that, but doing it in the best professional way possible. And then after that, we have the devs of The Long Dark, which was a preview program game. We'll have them on the show, as well as Flying Mullis, who's making a game called Never Mind. So that's what we have lined up. We have a few things that we're working out with a few people here and there. We'll see what happens after February 25th. I'm going to try to do a live show during the show. Why not? If it's available. If not, I'll do a live show while it's on, and any news that trickles in, we'll talk about it, we'll chat about it, we'll discuss it. I think that'll be really awesome and everything like that. So I appreciate everybody from 1 second. Joe Montana news. Hey, Joe Montana, we got hoodwinked on that one. Joe Montana is an iPad game, bro. Yes, Microsoft will announce a lot of exclusives at E3. I know this for a fact. When I spoke to Phil Spencer, I'm always promoting my older shows because I think it's always great to reference them because we have a lot of content. If you go listen to our interview with Phil Spencer back in the day, he stated that he had games locked up from 2014 to 2017. This is 2016. So I'm pretty sure he's got a ton of games coming, as well as backwards compatible games and deals that they got worked out. And I would not be surprised if we see some amazing stuff coming soon from Microsoft. We already know about new IPs that they got coming out they're working on. They got the HoloLens thing, even though that's separate, they still going to be doing Xbox gaming. Remember, that's their division. Xbox is their division. So anything gaming related is going to be Xbox related. They may show something off at E3 for that, or maybe hopefully at this event coming up, which I would actually prefer and have E3 to be all games. But we'll see. We'll see what happens there. Let's see. Yes, the event is the 25th. So definitely, if there's any news, follow me on Twitter, man. I'm always posting content and news from ticgn.com. And we try to stay up to date on everything and keep you guys up to date on everything Xbox, PC, and entertainment related. I just got one of my entertainment writers back, and I'm so happy she's returned. She's already putting out content for Ghostbusters. Hey, there's a new Spawn movie coming out. A new Spawn movie. I'm already hype. I'm already hype. Man, I'm so hyped for the Spawn movie. I'm such a big Spawn fanboy. Man, I used to love the HBO show back in the day. So dope. Anyway, anywhere yet on Deck 13? Deck 13, I believe, is working on some smaller titles. Nothing AAA. My understanding is that they're like 4 smaller, arcade games, but I have no idea what they are. Maybe they're really big titles. I mean, maybe they're really good titles, but maybe they changed it. Maybe Microsoft gave them a budget and they may come out with something big. Who knows? We'll see what happens. I don't want to say anything about anybody, but I appreciate the compliment. I guess you want to say Makai 28. Yeah, Buffalo, definitely. It's more like GDC. So they're just going to be showing on some things between Windows 10 and Xbox. I doubt they put anything major in there, but they may make some major announcements as far as Windows 10 and Xbox. Hopefully the Steam rumor comes out around that time. If not, you can imagine what E3 would be like if they announced this Steam thing. We'll see what happens. So, but that's it for the show this week, man. I will be back later in the week. Next week, obviously, we'll have a Tick podcast episode. Those shows are recorded, so just keep an eye out for those. We try to do those later in the week, Thursday, Friday. So when the weekend hits, to settle down. If you don't get a chance to the weekend, you can listen to it Monday morning on your way to work or school or whenever you get an opportunity to listen to. And we're also on iTunes, Windows, Apple, the Podbean app, and the Stitcher app. You can find us pretty much anywhere. If you Google Tick Podcast, we're the number one thing that comes up. And you can find us on any device. We make sure of that. And we're working hard to get on the Xbox. That's our next move. We are trying to get to be the first podcast, not IGN, out of the YouTubers, to get on the Xbox and have a Tick Podcast app on Xbox. So I appreciate everybody for stopping in. I will see you guys next week. I'm your host, KLRX Kal-El, the last son of Planet Xbox, and I'm off this planet. Peace. Hey, explanation now, rocking with your boy KORX Kal-El, the last.